Nod, correct?
Yes.
Cool, and we're talking about Life is Strange. What episode are we on?
And episode 3 was released the last month, and so episode 4 is due to release somewhere soon.
Cool.
Like around 8 weeks after episode 3.
Elyse over here is a huge fan of Life is Strange.
Cool. Thanks.
How can we discuss this game without ruining things for Elyse?
You can't. I've found it impossible to really discuss the true nature of this game without, because the story is so amazing and so important.
Thank you. Yes, it's not easy to speak, of course, about episode 2 and 3 without spoiling everything, but so yes, Life is Strange is a modern episodic narrative adventure game who tells the story of Max Caulfield, an high school student who just came back after spending 5 years in Seattle. She came back to her hometown of Arcadia Bay in Oregon, and quite soon she will be reunited with her former childhood friend Chloe Price, which has changed a lot during those 5 years of absence. And the two girls will be trying to rekindle their friendship, and they will be investigating on the disappearance of a fellow student, Rachel Amber, which was a friend of Chloe. And everyone in the city of Arcadia Bay thinks that Rachel just ran away to have a better life in another city. But Chloe really thinks that there is more and there is a mystery behind this. So this is some sort of the core of the story. But there's a twist. In the beginning of the game, Max discovers that she has the unique ability to rewind time. So she can, at any moment, rewind for a few minutes at any time. And with this new power, she will discover that it will have a lot of repercussions and butterfly effect in her life.
And that mechanic is so important because for me, this is what sets Life is Strange, aside from other point-and-click adventure games. What came first, the story concept or the time travel mechanic? Was it that you knew that you wanted to make a story about coming of age or?
That's really a good question. Actually, we built everything together because we knew in our previous game, in Remember Me, a game that was published by Capcom, we had those sequences in the game we were called the memory remixes, where we were starting just to tackle this idea of choice and consequences and butterfly effect. And we really wanted to have this in a whole game, in an adventure game, in a game with a slower pacing where the player could really take his time and enjoy the story and the characters. So we started by thinking about this rewind mechanism, but at the same time we were working on the story, the characters, the setting, really trying to find the best balance to have everything really cohesive. And building this bricks by bricks, we decided to have this story taking place in a high school setting. I think we chose that because when you're dealing with, we have a game we did with choice and consequences, and we really saw that high school was a good period of time where everyone, I think even myself or you might think back in your past and think, oh, what would have happened if I did another choice, in my other studies, if I had other friends or dated, if I dated another guy or another girl at this point. So it was a good period of your life to have this coming of age story and this choice and consequences tale.
It's also very interesting to go from a game about action and fighting and
science
then
fiction.
Yeah, and then to here
fiction.
where it's a story of personal interactions.
Yes, Remember Me was our previous game. It was a different team. I was working on it, and I'm the co-game director of Life is Strange, and the other co-game director, Raoul Barbet, was also working on Remember Me as he was working on the cutscenes and all the narrative aspect with the cinematics. And I was the art director on Remember Me, but we were not directing the game. And when we had the opportunity at Dontnod to start to create a new game, we thought really what kind of game do we want to make. And
you personally?
Myself and Raoul.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we. In Remember Me, I really loved environmental storytelling, where you can tell a lot of story just by the environment. We can put the way the objects are located in a space. It can really tell the story about the people that live in one space. And that's something we enjoyed working on the environment on Remember Me, but we would really like to have a game where we could have a really slower pacing, when we could just enjoy the environment, take your time, look at the drawings, read a newspaper, just maybe sit on a fountain and enjoy the environment, sit on your bed, take your guitar and play the guitar, just listening to music. And an adventure game, a kind of point-and-click game was really for us a good type of game to have this, to really be able to build characters, to build a story, and to really let the player enjoy this kind of really slow-pacing game when he can just be inside a bubble and taking his time.
Oh yeah, and there are so many different ways to interact with this game. Ones that you don't even see as you're playing it, and then you get to the end and you see all the different things that you could have, or people that you could have helped or interacted with. Like it's such a bigger game than you might think.
Yes, maybe. I think there is no good or wrong way to play the game.
Yeah.
You can play it just by going forward and go to advance the story with a critical pass and stuff like this. But you can also really take your time, and there is a lot of details. We really love the attention of detail. So you can look around and see. Really, you can read. We have message board on the high school, so you can read some message at a point, and in the next episode, you can read a new message that's related to one of the message in the first episode. And it's really optional and not needed at all. But I think that's really what we really love that attention to details can make a great game, because you can just really go deep into the universe and learn about the characters, of course with cutscenes, with dialogues, but also with everything in the environments. There is one example, for example, Chloe's house. In episode 1, you can see that the facade is half painted. And it's just because 5 years ago, when Chloe's father died, and he was painting the house, and nobody took time to just paint it more. We never explain this, but if the player take time to look at this, he can understand that.
Oh yeah, there's such sad touches, like in Zoe on Chloe's wall, where it shows her monitoring her height, and then her dad passed away, and that's where it stops. Such sad personal touches. When you get to the final screen after every episode that shows player choices and decisions, are you ever surprised by, this many players stole from the handicap collection fund, and you're like, what? Who are these people?
Yeah, it's really interesting, because I think that in Life is Strange, we're dealing with themes that are really close to reality. That was one of our major idea, and what we really wanted to tell with this game is we have this layer of teen drama when you start the game, but we are really adding much more. We are talking about quite serious themes like social media bullying, domestic violence, everything that's close to the characters, and that's something we wanted to have in this game. And when we look at the choices, it's interesting because those are choices that a lot of people can relate to. So the percentage are really interesting, because it's almost like a social study on some kind of level.
Yeah, I've noticed that you do have an outreach for kids and younger people that are playing this game and see the bullying and things like that. Have you gotten a big response on that level?
Yes. I won't spoil episode 2, but we have really darker themes in episode 2 and episode 3, and it was. Yes, we with Square Enix we created this page, this web page, when you can go if you feel connected to some of the issue we are talking in the game, so you can just talk to other people and get help, because that's something we saw that when you're dealing with bullying, we are sure that players that will play the game would have experienced bullying at a point, and we really tried our best to deal with this in a sensible way, to not trivialize that or speak to this subject in a bad way, but just to be sure, we created this web page so the player can go there if they feel connected. And we've been reading really great articles, like some teenagers who said that the game actually helped them to overcome some of their personal issues, because they understand that other people are experiencing the same thing as they do, and it was really touching, I think, to read that. And we're receiving a lot of emails of fans of the game at work who say that your game really helped me with my life, and that's quite weird to read that, but also really strong, because I think that we managed to talk in a good way of those subjects.
Oh yeah, and there are so few. I mean, not so few. I mean, there are lots of games that have fantastic female characters with a lot of depth, but I don't know many that have a female friendship in them that has a ton of depth. Was that something that was really important?
Yes, it came really early in the process of creating the story. We really wanted to have this coming of age tale, and also talking about friendship, really a strong friendship between two teenage or almost young adults female characters. that was a theme that was really really important for us. But we didn't start in the game creating the game by thinking, okay, let's do a game about a female character. We just when we worked on everything, we tried to, when we started to work on the story, we even tried at the beginning to have we had a male character. We tried to work on different characters that could be the good lead for this game, and quite quickly when we created Max, we saw that she was the good character for this, because she was this shy introvert student that has issue to take decisions in her life, and when you give her the power to rewind, it works really well, because she has even more difficult for her because she can rewind everything, so it's even more harder to take the good, what she can think is a good decision.
Yeah, I think it lets her kind of come out of her shell a little and be a little bit more like ballsy or aggressive, because she knows that she can do something. I won't spoil anything. She knows she can do something that's kind of horrendous that she wouldn't do. Yeah. And then I'll just rewind it. You know, I can say whatever to this person because I know that I can take it back.
Yeah, I think that's something all of us might have thought, if only I could erase this or not say that, or just go back a few moments in time. So I think that's really cool to give this power to the player and to give it to Max in the story.
I had a theory when I played the first episode, because I kept seeing posters for the Halloween dance everywhere. And I thought, I wonder if the releases will time out, that the last episode will come out around Halloween and it will be a big Halloween theme. And I thought that would be awesome. But the episodes are on kind of a faster release track than I thought they would be, which is amazing. And I'm happy about. But maybe after you could answer a question for me. Maybe it's too spoilery. You shouldn't tell me. Don't tell
Maybe
me.
Not. I shouldn't.
But do you have an exact date for the next episode, Dark Room?
No, there is no exact date. We are trying to keep the schedule around 8 weeks between each episode, but we're still, of course, it will be released around this time frame, but we're not sure exactly of the date, and Square Enix will announce it as soon as it's really set in stone.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm monopolizing this.
I just have one. I have a question I'm very curious about. Is like, you have a story you want to tell, and then how do you go about dividing it? You know what I mean? Obviously, narrative adventure games as episodic episodes, like is a proven concept. It works. We've seen on The Walking Dead and everything.
Really cool.
But like, how do you, when you have a whole story, decide, okay, this one's chapter 4?
Right from the beginning, we wanted to make the game episodic. So we've been writing the story in an episodic way, using what's working, of course, for TV shows. So we didn't write the story as a whole and divided it. We did write episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, 4, and 5, all of them together at the beginning, but really having in mind when the episode will finish. And that's something that's really great with episodic, because we know that one episode take around 3 hours for one player. So that's something you can do in one playthrough, in one session. Yeah. And we can really control the rhythm. We know when the player starts the game, we know where he ends the game, so we can have this cliffhanger at the ending. We can really think about the rhythm in one episode, and we can have those slower moments, slower pacing, when you just take your time in the beginning. Then we can have a peak of rhythm, then another slower moment, and that's really great with this episodic format. When you're working on a full game for 15 or 20 hours, you never know when the player will decide to stop the game, and he might sometimes stop the game in a very slow moment and just might not want to come back to the game, or he might just stop the game right before a peak, and all the crescendo to this peak will be erased, because when he starts playing again the tomorrow or the day after, it's just at this peak, and it didn't have this build up and this tension.
Right. You lose the momentum as a storyteller. I get that.
Exactly.
That makes sense to me.
And we really worked with the episodic format in mind, and I think that's something that's really great for telling a story. And also the weeks between each episode, we've seen on the forum that it's a great way for the players to talk about the game, to make theories, to think, okay, what will be next, and it creates a community around the game during the waiting. That's the same thing with TV shows. Between each episode, you have all those tweets and social networks talking about this episode and what will be coming next.
So you're reading the forums in between episodes. Yeah. Does anything do you ever see like, oh, that's actually a good idea, I should do that?
I don't think no, since the story was written from the beginning, we are still sticking to our main story arc and main beats, but we are looking to the let's play, to the feedback from the players, and when we are seeing, for example, that one character is really loved by the community, we might sometimes try to add another dialogue with this character, to add a bit more line to the character, or we are tweaking, tinkering a bit with the detail, with the story, while we are still keeping our main story arc. But it's really cool to have the feedback from the player, and we can really adjust a bit between each episode.
Very cool. I don't think we've taken a question from chat yet, have we?
Oh, are there any plans for physical release? Or is it too soon to...
We'd love to, and that's something that will need to be seen again with Square Enix. But I guess we are sticking, and right now we are working hard on episode 4 and 5, and we are really focusing on finishing the digital release, but maybe that could be cool. Is
this a game that we could ever maybe see on the Vita?
That's a good question. That's again maybe up to the publisher to answer that.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Yes, please.
And you don't have to answer if you don't want to seem biased, but are you Team Warren or Team Chloe?
Oh, I might not answer that. And it's really cool to read all those fans speaking about that. But again, it's mostly a coming of age story and a friendship story, and it's up to the player to really see how the player wants Max to be and how he wants Max to evolve in the game. So. Yeah.
I feel kind of bad for Warren because I feel like Warren so desperately likes
it's
Max.
Cool.
But I sometimes ignore him.
Really?
Yeah.
You friend zoned him every time?
He'll ask me to meet him in the science lab and then I forget.
Poor Warren.
Sorry, Warren.
Poor Warren.
Really poor Warren.
But yeah,
I have another question. Yeah. It's about how, to me, it's very interesting. Square Enix had their press conference yesterday, and Life is Strange is featured pretty heavily in it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we are really happy with that.
Yeah, what's that like? What is the relationship with Square Enix like?
It's really good, and it's when we started working on the game, we worked on an independent studio, and when we had a prototype, we went to publisher to show the game, and Square Enix was the only publisher who really accepted the game as it was. They didn't have to change the characters, to add more action, to add QTE, or they really accepted the game as it was created.
I'm sorry to stop you. Somebody said add action to this?
Yeah, we had.
And so you had someone who finally didn't say change anything.
Yes,
you found someone who's like, this is good.
Yes, they've been really, really supportive. They love the game. All the team was working with mostly on Square London and Square in USA. They are loving the game and they're really supportive. And when we see like you said, how heavily we were represented in the conference, when we have nothing new to show, we are between 2 episodes, there is no big release, big announcement about the game, and just seeing that they are talking about the game in the big E3 conference is really great for us, and it's great for the teams for all the team working on the project.
Oh, like it just makes them all feel more inspired.
Yes, because to be honest, it's hard. Working on the episodic game is quite a lot of work. It's like releasing 5 games in a very short schedule, so having this good feedback from the public and from Square Enix, it really motivates us and all the team to work hard to finish the game in the best way possible.
Yeah, it's cool because you're making a different kind of game. Do you know what I mean? You're making a game that's not just people shooting people. Yeah. Which is kind of cool, and it's cool to see support for that. Yes, it is, and
I love all sorts of games, and I don't think that there should be only this kind of game. It's just that it's really nice to see that we are in an era when you can have heavily narrative storytelling games, and you can have shooters, and you can have indie games. That there's a lot of great games on the indie scene that are talking about really hard subject matter. Some games like Papers, Please, or other games like that. It's really cool to see where the video games industry is going, where we can really start to talk about more important subject matters and something that might be more related to social issues, to the news, and so yes, it's great.
That is great. Elyse, looks like we have time for one more question.
I should ask chat with a question. I've been asking all my own questions.
So hold on, you've been looking at your laptop and then just pretending to read a question.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at chat, but this is from Controller in Hand. When trying to sell games. When trying to sell games trying to sell that games are art to non-gamers. I feel like Life is Strange is the perfect game to attract them. When making this game, I want to make an engaging narrative at the front of your mind. Like story is the central focus.
Yes, we really wanted, story is the central focus, and talking about those themes, those real issues was what's the most important stuff for us. And you're right that we've been hearing great stories. Like there is a friend of us that is an art director in another studio just said to us that it was the first time that both his wives and his kids played the game, and they were having dinner at night, and all of them were talking about the game and the choice they made. And his wife never really wanted to play by herself any game before. And we've heard this kind of story a lot of times from other people, like, oh, this is the first time that my girlfriend asked me to create me an Xbox account so I can just play my own, she can play her own playthrough of Life is Strange. So that's really cool to hear that, and it's really, it strengthens us and make us want to work hard on this game. Yeah.
Can I ask one more thing?
Okay.
I just thought of?
Yes.
Did you ever feel like trying to make a game about like American teenagers? Did you ever worry like, oh, are we making this seem like a caricature? You know, did you ever worry that because it's not the culture that you're living in?
Yeah, of course. That's something we really did our best to avoid that, because of course we're French, we're 30 years old male, and we're making a game about an American teenager in Oregon. So yeah, we are the perfect guys to do that. But we've done a lot of researches. We've been traveling in the Washington area, and we are working with an American writer. So his name is Christian Devine, and he's the guy writing every dialogue and text and everything you see in the game. He's writing it. We worked on the story at the studio, but he's the guy working on that. And he's also looking at the game and saying when we make mistakes. Like just a quick example, we had this parking lot at the beginning, and we had the spot were too tiny, and he said those are not American parking spots, so we made them bigger. And this is like that for the whole game. We are really working hard to be sure that we are documented. We are looking at Facebook, on blogs, on Tumblr, on newspaper from Oregon, and to be sure we are really well documented.
That's great.
That's very cool.
Do you want to let them know where they can get Life is Strange? Right
Them
now?
is that one camera in the middle.
Yeah, the chat. Sorry.
That's they. They is right there.
Hi. Sorry.
Oh,
where's it available?
To buy it.
Oh, okay, of course. So it's available on every platform, on PC, on Steam, on PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, and Xbox One, and it's a digital release. And also you can go on lifeisstrange.com for more information about the game.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Happy E3.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we should
Thanks.
switch right on back to Ian Cam.
over there.
Hey, Ian.
Ian came.